Salga, hello. Is
Hi,
it
I'm
Sage?
Sage.
Sage, sorry. Yes. Hi, Sage.
Hi. First, I just wanted to have a comment and then I will ask my question. I live in the Netherlands, but I'm American and I'm here working on my PhD and I study depression. And so I just wanted to say thank you for this community that you have created in this space and your response to Jim's question about turning towards your depression and loving it was just so beautiful and really moved me. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you. It was really, really meaningful. So my question is on a different topic, but it's about love and the sort of spiritual levels of experiencing love. For me personally, when I use the word love, I think about big love and this loving all of humanity. And I tie the action of love to our oneness in being. However, then most people that I have relationships with and I interact with, they really think about love as just this very specific, you love your family, you love your pet, you love, this one specific intimate relationship that you have. And sometimes I run into conflict when trying to communicate that with people who are only considering the specific person-to-person example. So I was just wondering if you had any metaphors or advice about how to kind of connect the disconnected levels, whereas I don't see a disconnection between the levels of, this big love and more person-to-person love, but some people I'm communicating with really have a hard time, they really see separate levels.
Yes. Sage, you understand that there is just being. We could say just God's being if we want to give it a religious name, just God's being. And because there is just being, being is whole, perfect, complete, without lack, without otherness. So this experience of without otherness from a human perspective is what we call love. So human beings don't really love because human beings are apparent parts of the whole, apparently separate beings within infinite being. But in reality, there are no separate beings. There is just being, one infinite, indivisible whole. So you understand, we understand here that love is not something an individual does, not an experience that an individual has. Love is the dissolution of the individual. It's the death of the individual. And that's actually why everybody loves love, because everybody seeks to free themselves of the wound of separation, the pain of separation. So now, we understand this, but the people you're referring to, your family, they don't yet know this. They believe I am a temporary, finite, separate being, and it is me as this being that loves a number of other beings. So they have their circle of people and animals that they love, and they love everyone inside that circle, and everybody else is outside that circle. And some people's circles are bigger than others, but that's the kind of common idea of love. And it's very difficult to speak. In fact, it's not possible to speak directly about these matters to someone who firmly believes that they are a separate self. You have to find, if you want to talk to them about these matters, you have to step your understanding down and make it manageable for them. The last thing you want to do is provoke resistance in your family, because if you provoke resistance, they will reject what you're saying. You want them to understand what you're saying. So you have to step your understanding down as much as is necessary to make it palatable to them.
I love the example you give with consciousness, where you describe a sheet of paper and drawing the individual circles. And you said like artists sometimes have a more perforated circle. Do you think that's a good example to use with love too? I mean, you use the word consciousness then.
Yes, if you take a piece of paper that represents infinite being, and each of us as human beings are circles drawn on this piece of paper. Some people's circles are drawn with a very heavy, solid line. These are people who have a very dense, heavy sense of themselves, separate from everyone and everything. But other people, that their lines are drawn more lightly, and other people, their lines are perforated, that their sense of being a separate self is almost non-existent. It's transparent, and therefore they feel their connection. They feel that the bit of paper inside their circle and all the paper inside all the other circles, they feel that it is the same because there isn't this barrier around them. So love in this analogy would be the recognition that the white paper within everybody's circle is the same piece of paper, the same white paper, the same white space, and that the circles are superimposed on top of this, the piece of paper. They're not inherent in the piece of paper. Likewise, the separate self is a belief superimposed on God's infinite being that seems to fragment God's being into separate beings, but in reality doesn't. People mix up liking someone with loving someone. Liking someone is the extent to which we resonate with the shape of their particular circle. Everyone's circle is slightly different. It's the extent to which our circle is in harmony with their circle.
Puzzle pieces maybe that fit together.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yes, if they're shaped nice, they fit nicely together, then we like the person. We tend to share interests. We tend to share views. So our puzzle pieces fit nicely. The ones we don't like are the ones when whichever way you put the puzzle pieces, nothing fits. That's to do with who we like and who we dislike. Love has got nothing to do with that at all. Love is just the recognition that we share our being, irrespective of our characters. You could dislike someone intensely and love them. Indeed, we should. We're not. It's not realistic to think that we should like everybody. But that's not possible for an individual. But we are called to love everyone. That those of us in this community, if we truly understand and feel there is only God's being, and that we are not a being apart from that being, because there is just being, that this means that love is the natural condition of all apparent relationship. And we are required in this community to feel that we share our being with everyone. I mean, everyone.
One world, one family.
Yes. So it's up to you, Sage. I don't know your family and your friends. You have to, depending on the nature of their resistance to these ideas, you have to be skillful at finding ways of just, you don't have to give them the full understanding. Just open the door. It's all you have to do. Open the door to a possibility and try to provoke as little resistance in them as possible.
I guess it's not a resistance. It's more maybe they use the individualized aspect of it to make them feel like special. Like, I guess a romantic partner is the easiest example. Like, you've chosen me as your partner. You love me. You don't love this other random person. So it's maybe there's some like they need to use it to feel special or unique. And that's not necessarily love, but we just use the same words. So maybe just, yeah, if I could think more about how to, like, both are love and they're just different experiences of it, and they're both the same, right? So, yeah.
Yes,
There's
you've
no,
probably heard me say before that I recommend intimate companions say to each other, I love you deeply, but I don't need you.
yes.
And that provokes resistance in a lot of people for exactly the reason you say, that for a lot of people, they don't distinguish between love and need. But true love, true friendship, there is freedom in true love. There is no need. You may still decide to stay together for the rest of your life, but not out of need. That would be an ego trying to derive, trying to enhance its identity through relationship with the other, as you rightly say. That's not love. That's need masquerading as love, as you say.
Thank you. This was such a beautiful time and community. And yeah, thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Rain. I wish you the very best with your thesis on depression. Sounds very interesting work.
Thank you.